Welcome in everyone, and happy holidays. I'm Teo Pokemon, and today we've got the footage from our first ever draft match in Heroic Titans Draft League. But before we get into the match itself, I want to take a quick look at the team we ended up drafting and our first opponent, the Cuebonesaws, piloted by Bonesaw. So this was a standard snake draft, and we ended up drafting near the end of the snake at position 6 of 8, with Fluttermane surprisingly still being available. So it was a bit of a no-brainer for pick number 1. And then I went strong with my next 3 picks, taking Rillaboom, Gouging Fire, and Ting-Lu. But I was spending my points very quickly and picked up Poltergeist for a cheap 2 points after that. Next I wanted a cheap Tailwind setter, and Unburdened Grassy Seed Drifblim fits well on my team so far. If you've been watching this stream for a while, you know I'm a big fan of Terranormal Boomburst Toxicity, so we picked him up to complement our 2 ghost types. And if you've been watching the stream for a few seconds, you'd know Teo's gotta draft that Wartortle. It also gives us an interesting Ting-Lu lead, with Wartortle taking the place of the solo Dozo. Lastly, we picked up Weirdeer and Slitherwing, with the Deer being our Trick Room answer and Slither just being another Paradox Mon that can do damage if it's not checked. Our first week opponent is Bonesaw and the Cuebonesaws, who also had a very strong draft. Looking at his team, I was certain that they were going to bring the top 5 Mons at minimum, so I only really had to prep for Waterpon, Ensign, Murkrow, Goldingo, and Bundle. The Bundle was my only real concern, as it would outspeed my Flutter even with Booster and could speed control without actually setting Tailwind with Icy Wind. As a result, we decided to go with Miracle Seed Rilla to guarantee to KO with Grassy Glide. I also felt that gouging Ting-Lu with Howl could be really strong, and went as far as putting Life Orb on the Ting-Lu to guarantee a +1 attack one-shots on pretty much all of his Pokemon. My main strat here was always going to be gouging Ting-Lu and try and deal as much damage as possible on turn 2. So here's the team in its entirety. We got the Terra Dark on the Gouging Fire, like we mentioned, the Howl, Terra Electric, Thunderbolt, Sash. On the Fluttermane, didn't need the Moonblast because there wasn't many fighting types or dark types on Bonesaw's team, so we decided to go with the Thunderbolt. Like we mentioned already, Miracle Seed, Rillaboom for the bundle. Drifblim, pretty standard set. Slitherwing, pretty simple as well. Ting-Lu Life Orb was just to really go and get those one-hit KOs. I thought it would be a bit of a surprise with the Life Orb over the AV, so we kept that. And big shoutouts to GentleVGC for doing the EVs and helping with the prep for these matches. If you guys want to check out some of his stuff, I've linked his YouTube in the description. Highly recommend reaching out to him if you want some practice on Draft League stuff. Alright, so without further ado, let's get to the games. I do apologize, I forgot to enable the audio recording. I didn't do these matches on stream. So we do have the video recording, so I'm gonna do a little voiceover while I'm at work here. I'm at the arcade, so I hope you guys don't mind some flashing lights, and let's get to some games. Alright guys, so like I said, I forgot to record the audio, so I'm gonna do some commentary post-match. We did this game a couple days ago, and right off the bat we can see that he's brought the Jolteon, but I was correct that he was gonna bring the top 5 on his draft board. The Murkrow, the Goldingo, the Incineroar, the Bundle, and the Waterpon. We're happy to see the Jolteon because the Ting-Lu does fantastic into it. The Rillaboom does really well into it. And we didn't bring the Wartortle. So I'm thinking he brought the Jolteon in response to the Wartortle, which we love to see. Let me just make sure this is full screen. Bada bing. And like I said, I do apologize. I'm at work right now, so forgive the lights in the back. But we're going to do our best to comment on the game. So I am expecting a Murkrow lead here. I'm expecting him to see that, you know, the Drifblim is a Tailwind setter, so maybe he wants to get a Prankster Tailwind setter. I don't expect to see the Jolteon here. And I do expect to see the Iron Bundle. So the 2 that I'm pretty sure of are Bundle and Murkrow, and actually Incineroar as well. Those 3 I'm pretty confident. And I don't expect to see the Jolteon. And just a quick shout out while we're waiting here, if you guys want to check us out on Twitch, there's links in the description, twitch.tv/TeoPokemon, TAYOPKMN. And this is our first opponent in Heroic Titans Draft League, Mr. Bonesaw and the Cuebonesaws. So he does bring the Jolteon, which surprises me right off the bat. We lead with Gouging Fire and Tinglu, which is a fantastic lead. I'm expecting him to always go for the Gouging Fire here. And we do get confirmation that it is Booster Energy. Just a quick rules recap. It is closed team sheets, but Terras are available. So I'm just looking at the moves here. I do the Howl Rock Slide. I figured the Rock Slide might not pick up the KO on the Jolteon, but it for sure picks it up on the bundle. And getting the Howl off is my main goal. So I'm kind of surprised to see Alluring Voice here. I do know Jolteon does get a bunch of coverage, but because of the Tinglu, that does negligible damage. So now we're +1 on both slots. Rock Slide does hit the Jolteon, looks like. It sure does. And not enough to get a KO. So for turn 2, once again, like I said, I'm expecting him to be focusing down the Gouging Fire. He just targeted with Alluring Voice. So I'm contemplating whether I go for the Breaking Swipes, even though the Jolteon is Terra Fairy and the Iron Bundle is Terra Steel. I'm expecting like a Hydro Pump and maybe another Alluring Voice into the Gouging Fire slot. I am Terra Dragon on the Tinglu, so I don't want to do that with the Iron Bundle still up. And the Jolteon Protect, which I wasn't expecting, to be honest. I was expecting him to just go for it, and he does click into the Tinglu. And that's just the Teo Pokemon RNG for you. We get frozen on the freeze. +1 Breaking Swipe and Iron Bundle does less damage than I was expecting it, so it could be a bulky Iron Bundle. Bundle does have pretty good physical defense. So with the Tinglu frozen here, I kind of rushed this play. I'm always thinking, you know, protect, go for a move on Tinglu, try and get that freeze turn, expecting my opponent to, once again, I'm expecting him to double into the Gouging Fire here. There I click Stomping Tantrum, thinking that it's going to be double damage because of the failed freeze turn, but in the end it doesn't really matter, because he does target down the Tinglu. Sorry about that, let's turn that down. We got Rillaboom and Sash Fluttermane in the back. This is a really strong position for us because he doesn't have a way to reset terrain. The only way he can really deal with the Rillaboom right now is with an Incineroar in the back, so we click Howl because that means that he's going to either protect and swap, or he's going to let me pick up a KO. So he doesn't do either. Well, he does let me pick up the KO, but he doesn't swap. And at this point, I'm really not scared of the Jolteon. Does click Volt Switch. Pretty sure that's a crit. Yep. So it does meaningful damage to the Gouging Fire, but we have Grassy Terrain down. So we should be recovering a good amount of that. Does have the Incineroar in the back. So we're clear Amulet on the Gouging Fire for this almost exact reason, because of the Incineroar. And we bring the Rillaboom back to neutral, and the Gouging Fire's at +2 now. He hasn't shown his fourth and final, and it is Water Pond. So Water Pond was one of my worries. Bundle was the biggest worry in this matchup. The Water Pond, I was thinking, you know, it's obviously a good Pokemon. I just didn't have a fantastic way through it. So I decided to protect the Gouging Fire here. And you'll notice on the Rillaboom, it is a weird build where we don't have Woodhammer, because I wasn't ready to give up the U-turn. I needed super effective damage into the Water Pond and also the pivot. was something that I was thinking about. So we are neutral damage. I'm anticipating an Ivy Cudgel and a Flare Blitz into the Rillaboom slot. An Ivy Cudgel and the Gouging Fire is what I'm expected, but he does actually click Follow Me, which I think my opponent there was anticipating a ground move from the Rilla. And it's a bit of a dangerous pivot here, but my Flutter is Sash, so the only way that this backfires right now is if I get burnt on the Flare Blitz that I'm anticipating. He does click Flare Blitz into the Rillaboom slot. Sash procs. And we do not get burned. So that was big. I think if we get burned there, this is a much different game. But since we get the Flutter in for essentially free and the Gouging Fire's at +2 now, I'm in a very comfortable spot. 2 physical attackers in front of me. We're +2 attack. I'm clicking Breaking Swipes. And the Sunny Day play here, I'm considering because I mistakenly calculated that I would be getting a speed boost on Gouging Fire, forgetting that I was +2 attack, but also because I'm expecting a Spiky Shield here. So I think that instead of going for the Water Pond, that I nerf its Ivy Cudgel with Sunny Day. Best case scenario, the Flutter lives this turn, and then I can, I mean, the speed boost wouldn't do too much because I already outspeed everything. But there is a Jolteon in the back, so I was trying to get some extra speed here. Take a little bit of recoil on the Spiky Shield, which, to be fair, I didn't actually anticipate for, but he does U-turn the Gouging Fire slot, which is perfect for us. Flutter gets to live another turn, and now the Flutter outspeeds the Jolteon. Now in this exact moment, I'm thinking to myself, man, I really wish I put Moonblast on the Flutter main. But I make another error here. With the booster speed on the Flutter, I should have targeted down the Jolteon. But I was thinking that the Gouging Fire would be faster, forgetting that it got the attack boost. But also I didn't pay attention to the Terras. Now the Jolteon is Terra Fairy, which is why I should have used the Flutter to target that slot. And I still could have clicked Breaking Swipe. It would have been a single target Breaking Swipe, or I could have clicked +2 Heat Crash in the Sun. But no, I chose to click Breaking Swipe again and target the Water Pond. So that's actually a pretty big misplay on my part. But the good news is that we did do enough in the prior turns that he can't click a Grass move into the Gouging Fire. He has to click a Water move, and we're in the Sun, and his neutral damage. Takes out the Ogerpon, leaving just the Incineroar in the back. And we're clear Amulet, so it doesn't really bother us. Now, I don't think I have this game locked up yet in my head. I'm thinking an Alluring Voice crit into the Gouging Fire could potentially do it, especially after Terra Fairy. And the first moves that we saw was with a Ting Lu on the field. So I am actually worried about that. A Grassy Glide into the Jolteon I'm pretty confident is going to KO, but I do need to respect the Fake Out. I don't think he has a super fast Incineroar, so I choose to fake that out. This could have gone very poorly if he was faster and managed to get a Fake Out onto my Gouging Fire. Clear Amulet coming in handy once again. And that's definitely a KO right there. Now this game's pretty wrapped up. We've already shown spread Breaking Swipe damage, so single target will KO. And I'm already thinking about game number 2 here because that was a lot closer than I wanted it to be. I do feel that the freeze on the Ting Lu definitely swung it in my opponent's favor the first few turns. But I have confidence that this Ting Lu gouging fire lead will do very well. Now, for game 2, like I said, I was expecting the Murkrow in game 1, didn't bring it. And speed was a bit of an issue. I showed that I can outspeed his fast Pokemon without having to set Tailwind if I can just get Sunny Day up. So I do, once again, think he's going to lead Murkrow. As a result, I'm going to bring the Rillaboom Drifblim mode. I feel like this could be a mistake, but I'm up a game.
Team Discovery Channel!
So I wanted to take a risk. Another thing is that I haven't played many of these draft leagues, so I wanted to just try out the different Pokemon, see how they felt. I've used a lot of them in online tours before, but never on this team, obviously. This is a very unique team. But I don't want to give up on the Gouging Fire Ting Lu, so I'm bringing Drifblim, Rillaboom in the front. I'm definitely considering it here. But I will have Gouging Fire Ting Lu in the back. I believe those two are just too strong for my opponent to handle. And if I lead Rillaboom, Drifblim, I should enter turn 2 with speed control. Here we go, game 2 versus Bonesaw and the Cuebonesaws. So he changes it up, he brings Goldingo in the lead. Now, I remember this turn very well because I made a mistake once again, and that was with the Terra type on the bundle. Now the lead just screamed to me that it was a Terra Ghost bundle. It's not. It's a Terra Steel bundle. I think I just saw in the VOD or in the recording that I looked over at the Terras and I still didn't acknowledge it. But I'm calling a Terra Ghost here, even though it doesn't exist. The calc on the Rillaboom is to guarantee a Grassy Glide KO on a Terra Ghost Iron Bundle. So the fact that he's about to Terra Steel, sorry to spoiler alert, is kind of upsetting. So here he goes. Once again, I thought this was Terra Ghost. It is in fact Terra Steel. It wasn't a team sheet error, it was just a mistake on my part. Always check your team sheets, kids. Double check them, triple check them. Does get the Icy Wind off, but the Unburdened Drifblim will still outspeed the Goldingo. So I did notice that his Goldingo was Terra Flying, so I was thinking that it meant it was a setup one. This Make It Rain does do heaps of damage, but once again we're Miracle Seed Rillaboom, so we're not benefiting from the AV special defense. So turn 1, not great. We do get the Terra out of him, but we do 20% damage to lose both of our Pokemon. We do get Tailwind up, and the Goldingo is -1, so it's not the worst turn in the world. And I still have confidence in Gouging Fire Ting Lu, especially now that the Terra is out and it's on the bundle as Steel. Both of these Pokemon can do damage into it, and I have Tailwind up with the Gouging Fire. So first instinct here is to go for Howl. Like I said, the main thing is to set up and then do damage. I have Tailwind advantage right now, so I'm expecting a swap and a Protect on the Iron Bundle slot, which makes Howl look even better. And in retrospect here, Throat Chop would have been the better call. I didn't check his back mons, but I was expecting an Incineroar, so that's why I clicked Stomping Tantrum. And we are getting +1 with Life Orb here. He doesn't protect the bundle, which I wasn't expecting. And the Icy Wind isn't too much of an issue because of our Clear Amulet. So +1 Life Orb, Stomping Tantrum still does solid 35% to the Water Pond as a resisted hit, which is impressive. But now we got to think about how we're going to take out a Pokemon here. I am anticipating an Ivy Cudgel into the Tinglu. And I've shown that the Gouging Fire outspeeds the bundle under Tailwind, so I'm hoping he doesn't follow me here. I think follow me would be a good play because he'll pull the Gouging Fire attack, and then bundle will obviously outspeed the Tinglu. Terra Dragon, I'm expecting the Ivy Cudgel, and he does not follow me. So we take the bundle. We do get the call right. He does Ivy Cudgel that slot. Does very little damage. And then our +1 Life Orb Throat Chop. Now we know he's got Goldingo in the back. I'm thinking his last one is Incineroar. Gouging should always outspeed the Goldingo, and he's used Terra. So we were right that he was going to bring the Murkrow. I was expecting it in a lead. In the back, I'm not too threatened. Haze is a bit worrisome. I do click Rock Slide here because I just want to end the game on this turn. I don't want to give him any chance to come back into it. So I'm expecting a Protect and a Tailwind. I still have 1 turn of Tailwind here. So he needs to match it essentially or it's game over. Always outspeed, +1 Heat Crash, picks up the KO. And I still haven't like thought I've won yet because of the Murkrow, and I know he's probably got Foul Play on it, and both of my Mons are +1, and we missed the first Rock Slide. So I'm a bit worried here, especially with the Tailwind ending on my side. I'm thinking he's got a lot of work to do if he does want to reverse sweep this. Foul Play does go out, and it does a lot of damage. Heat Crash also does a lot of damage, and he gets the Rock Slide miss. Now, what I'm worried about here is I'm thinking that he wants to go for the Gouging Fire now, because his only out now is Rock Slide misses. He's already got 2 in a row. I do want to protect the Gouging Fire here, but I just say let's just go send everything. He picks up the Tinglu, and this is a guaranteed win here. Heat Crash picks up the Murkrow. A GG's. So we take the set 2-0. I'll let this play out actually. Say goodbye to Bonesaw. GG's, good luck in the rest. We are going to play every opponent in the league at least once, and then there will be some finals. So with that victory against Bonesaw, puts us 1-0. We do get 3 points in the league because we won the game without losing, or we won the set without losing a game, excuse me. So that puts us tied for first with Control Geek, who also swept his previous opponent. Our next week's opponent is the tournament organizer, Heroic Titan. You can see we're playing Control Geek week 3 as well. There's going to be 8 weeks, or excuse me, 7 weeks. But then there's going to be finals. Hopefully we make the finals, so expect more of these. If you enjoy watching these, leave a comment, let me know. Give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. I appreciate all of y'all. And we'll see y'all next week. It's over the holidays now, so maybe another 2 weeks until this next game, but ideally we'll be getting one of these videos out every week. Alright guys, peace!
Team Discovery Channel!